Hey guys, Scott Baker here from Sycamore Baptist Church. Wanted to bring you another devotional today and talk a little bit about something different. We've been talking and spending so much time about the things that are wrong in the world. So today let's talk a little bit about enjoying life. This is a topic I think that is really pertinent and very much needed right now. So today let's talk about enjoying life. So there are so many things in the world right now that are causing us stress. If we're not worrying about the virus, we're all stressing over the secondary issues that it's causing, such as unemployment and therefore a lack of money, the toll it's taken on the economy as a whole, the tension it's created in society as a whole. We're not living like we always do or like we have in the past. It's creating a downright frightening feeling about our future as a whole. But what so many people have forgotten or lost sight of is that God is still in charge. He is still up there and He is still watching over us. Yes, these are scary times. But as I've touched on in many of my devotionals in the past, we can and we will get through these dark times. One of the key factors to getting through difficult situations is remembering to enjoy life. When things start to go downhill in our lives, it throws our sense of well-being off, and unease starts to creep into our thoughts. We start to play the what-if game. What if we never recover? What if we have to file bankruptcy? What if we lose everything? What if this? What if that? The what-if game never ends well. This creates uncertainty. Uncertainty leads to doubt, which in turn builds into fear. It is the fear that overcomes and consumes our minds, and ultimately, it fractures our happiness. Now, this is obviously not the way God intended for us to live. We have to remember to take the time to enjoy life. If we don't, then what's the point of living? The Proverbs writer said it best when he wrote in chapter 17 and verse 22, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones." Now think about that for a minute. A joyful heart is good medicine. A crushed spirit is exactly what we have when we let fear overrun us. And when we talk about fear, this is kind of a side note, but it does pertain. I always think back to when I was a kid. To hear my dad tell stories about when I was a kid, I was very rebellious and I was constantly getting into trouble. He said I was fearless and I would do just about anything Mom and him told me not to, just because I could. But for some reason, as I got older and I got into my early teens, I developed some very odd fears. For one of the things, and I'm not ashamed to admit it now because I'm 46, but I developed a fear of the dark when I turned 13. But Dad always told me, every time I mentioned either that or something else that concerned me, he always told me fear never accomplished anything. And that's pretty much all he'd say. He'd leave it at that. But he was so right now that I think back on it. All fear does is keep you from thinking straight. And then it sucks the life right out of you. But I don't want to talk about fear. I want to talk about life, and I want to talk about enjoying it. The Bible point blank tells us to enjoy life. In Ecclesiastes, Solomon writes, "There is nothing better for a person than that he should eat and drink and find enjoyment in his toil." Later on in chapter 5, he reiterates this with, "Behold, what I have seen to be good and fitting is to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of his life that God has given him, for this is his lot." He point blank says, what I've seen to be good, eat, drink, and be merry. He's not talking about going out and getting trashed or anything like that, but he's saying enjoy the finer things in life, enjoy the simple things in life. If you need a New Testament example of this, you'll find the perfect one in Matthew. He says, "Therefore I tell you, do not be anxious about your life, what you will eat or what you will drink, nor about your body, what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather into barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not of more value than they? And which of you, being anxious, can add a single hour to his span of life? Anxious means nervous. Which of you, being nervous, can add a single hour to his span of life? And why are you so nervous about clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin, yet I tell you, even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So as you can see, Matthew also reiterates what Solomon said. Enjoy life. Don't live for the moment. Don't just throw everything away and not plan. But if you can't enjoy life, what is the point of living? So speaking of that, so what are some ways to enjoy life? Well, the easy answer that I would give you is to ask yourself what makes you happy and then do that within reason, as long as it's legal. But with self-isolation in place, that's not always an option. So what are other things that you can do to enjoy life? Personally, I've been looking at the simple things. And now my wife will not agree that I'm always doing that because I do use screens frequently, but go outside, stand in the sunshine, close your eyes and let the wind blow over your face. At night, go out, look up at the stars, look into the vast magnificence that is the universe and think about God. Take a walk, read a book. Now is the perfect time to read the Bible. Why not get started? If you've never read it through, give it a shot. If you don't want to read it through, pick key verses, just open it up, see what God puts on your heart. But I think the biggest key to enjoying life right now is unplugging. And this is something my wife and I keep telling our kids, get away from the screens. Yes, there are tons of streaming entertainment options. And yes, I do frequently fall down the YouTube rabbit hole. But I also try to turn off the TV, put down my phone, put down the iPad, and get away from it all. Putting our screens down and getting off of the wire, to the way I call it, is a simple yet essential aspect of enjoying life. And I'm serious. Try going 30 minutes or even an hour without looking at your phone and see how much better you feel. But regardless, despite everything else that I've talked about, if you really want to enjoy life, remember this. God has not left us, and He never will. For us to truly enjoy life, we need to have a relationship with God. If we don't have a relationship with God, we're just going through the motions, and we're not living life to its fullest potential. This has been a devotional from Sycamore Baptist Church. I hope that it has helped you. Thank you.